Hagámoslo pues. Buenos días, buenos días. Estoy aquí con Matt Crypto y muchas gracias por venir a mi canal. Te doy un saludo en español, aunque ese canal normalmente solamente es en inglés. Pero sí, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo va todo en México?
Hi, Michael. Nice to have a conversation today with you. Thanks for the invite. Doing good here in Mexico City at the moment, and yeah, the market's not too shabby, so really enjoying the times here.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And we're going to mix some Spanish in today because you're a big YouTuber and content creator in Latin America. And I've lived there for almost a year in 2019. So I love Latin America. I've been to Colombia, Chile, Argentina, Mexico. I think first, you're also big on Polkadot. So we're going to be talking about this later. But first, maybe you can share a little bit about your crypto journey, how you ended up in the space, what you did before that, and what got you hooked to kind of like get all in on that.
Yeah, of course. Well, to start, I would say like my first time when I heard about Bitcoin was in 2011. I was living in Colorado in the US, and a friend of mine who was like the weird friend, the crazy friend, he like sent me the link, and I was like, oh, this looks really, it looked really, I don't know, like it was not so well presented for me at least. So I didn't get it at the moment. I was young. I think I was like 15 years old or something like that. So it was like really early for me, and I just ignored it completely. And fast forward a few years to 2016, I was in the university, and the end of 2016, and a teacher of mine started talking about Bitcoin because it was starting to go up to the all time high. So she was really excited, really pumped, and when she talked to me about it, I was like, fuck, I've been missing out so many fucking years. Like I want to get in as soon as possible, and this is really cool because at the moment I only focused on the price, right? But I was studying international business, so when I started getting more deep into it, it made really a lot of sense because of the international transactions. I was also a big fan of gold, keeping some money on your own custody. So many things about Bitcoin attracted me. And I purchased my first Bitcoin, I think, November 2016. And I started to learn more and get deeper into it because like I said, first it was the price that attracted me more, but the more I learned about the technology, I've always loved technology, so my mind was blown. So I work in real estate and worked in real estate since I was young. So I started to put my money of some sales I've done there. So 2017 was pretty good. Also, of course, no one sells the top pretty much, but started dabbling also in other projects, Ethereum, and I also got really fan into like Asian projects like Neo and stuff like that, 2017. And so that was like my first journey, like my first year. I instantly got addicted to crypto. Like at the first days I started like researching nonstop, couldn't sleep pretty much. And I was also like, we talked earlier about how you met Bitcoin, and I was also into trying to start like e-commerce, drop shipping, stuff like that. So it made a lot of sense to me, this technology, because of international payments and stuff like that. And I'm always looking for the next opportunity. So when I saw what crypto was doing, how big it was, but how early it was at the same time, I decided to put all my time and effort into that. So I started studying every day, investing, and just started talking to people about it. And like you said, I also have a YouTube channel, but I actually started that in almost into 2019, February 2019, like around $3,000 when it was Bitcoin around that. It was really interesting because I saw a lot of information around the social media, but in Spanish, that it was mostly scams, you know? So that's what I decided. I saw like I consumed a lot of content in English, but I didn't saw any quality content in Spanish. So I thought I'm gonna do this, and this is a way so I can get into the community, meet more people, people can meet me and stuff like that. So I started to put in effort into that, and yeah, since 2019 I have been putting videos out. I also started like a crypto fund the end of 2019, beginning 2020, and it's a private family and friends fund. But yeah, it's been pretty good, and that's all my time I've been spending it focused on crypto and learning. And I love to try the apps and see how can I get a glimpse into the future. Like my thought when I started investing in crypto Bitcoin was like, imagine when I was when I did my first Facebook account, imagine if I could invest in Facebook, right? So that's what I thought. It's really early. It started to catch on, but it's not huge. My grandma's not using it right now, so we're still really early. And yeah, that's pretty much. I've been focusing a lot on the Polkadot ecosystem. Sadly, I couldn't get into like the Ethereum when they did the ICO and stuff like that. I got in 2017 and started accumulating then. And when I found out Gavin Wood was involved in Polkadot, I instantly thought it had really good potential because of the person that's behind it and what he's built in the past. So that's a little short story about me.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And you have been right about Polkadot. I mean, they blew up, and when they launched, now one of the largest cryptocurrencies out there, along with also Kusama, the Canary network of Polkadot. And now the whole parachain madness has begun, right, with the first auctions on Kusama. I think the first auctions on Polkadot are coming very soon as well. But yeah, we can talk about this a bit later. And it's funny how you said it. You basically came for the gains and you stayed for the technology.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens with most of the people, right? If some friend of yours is in crypto and he's making crazy money, and you're like, man, I also want that crazy money, and you start to buy, and then you actually start to think, man, this is actually revolutionary. I have keys and control of my funds, of my money, of my value, right, of my information. Mm-hmm. And ownership. I think that's the true revolution here. But so you already said you started your YouTube journey in 2019 because you wanted to bring value to people in Latin America, especially in Spanish. So can you talk a little bit about the Latin American communities and also how it evolved now from over the past years? You know, because now obviously you have El Salvador legalizing Bitcoin as legal tender. How was it before that? Was there any change, and how do you think the Latin American communities are in general?
Yeah, I think the Latin American communities love crypto. Of course, countries like Argentina and Venezuela are like the OGs, I would say, because of the history they have on inflation and stuff like that, and value confiscation. So those are like really big countries, I think, the ones that adopted it earlier. But like you said, in Colombia, where you went, it's starting to get really big. Like many people, maybe they don't get it as much, but because they keep their money in Binance, for example, and they use it like a bank account. But it's better for many people because they can send not only crypto, like non-stable coins, but stable coins, they can send dollars and they can work out sending money to their families all around the world. That's a really big use case. Like sending money to Latin American countries is really, really big, from people who work in Europe, in the US, everywhere in the world pretty much. So that's a really useful case, because things like Western Union and all those companies charge so much money. And this you can do this, send money instantly and spend it instantly. That's one of the things that got me super hyped about crypto when I saw, because I was like I said, working on online commerce, all that stuff. But when they paid me through PayPal or any other payment processor, it takes time so I can receive the money actually. But in crypto, you can get it instantly. So that was really crazy for me. And yeah, like Mexico is growing a lot. Mexico is like the host of the biggest exchange in Latin America, that is Bitso. It expanded its operations to Brazil and to Argentina. They actually also offered support for the Chivo wallet for El Salvador. So they're really big, and not as many good projects come out of Latin America, I think. Argentina is like the main hub, really good quality people, really good projects. Other countries, not so much. I don't focus as much on projects like locally, but globally. But yeah, definitely Argentina has a lot of developers and people working on blockchain solutions that are really, really good. And yeah, like right now, like you said, in El Salvador, it was made a legal currency right now. So that's really, really crazy. I think many more countries are keeping an eye on that, because most of them depend on the dollar, even if it's not their official currency, like for international trade and for bank reserves, they hold dollars. So when the government of the United States, the federal bank, is printing money and just giving them inflation, infinite inflation, they're worried about it. So they want to have different bags so they don't have to be dependent on on the US, right? So it's really interesting. Of course, there's a lot of scams because there's a lot of misinformation. People here, and we know we can do a lot of money in crypto, but people that don't know get scammed into stupid Ponzi's, or people on Instagram write them like, I can give you 50% return in 2 hours and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of education missing, but there's definitely a growth in the ecosystem. And since I started my YouTube channel, I've seen a lot of new channels like start to grow, and more information, more community on Twitter, everywhere. Here in Mexico, we have a bar that's called the Bitcoin Embassy. Mm. And it's really cool. There's people that like crypto there. You can talk. There's some events. So it's growing. And yeah, people need to learn, but there's definitely benefits for them.
Awesome. Yeah, I wanted to go to the Bitcoin Embassy when I was there, but then it didn't work out last minute, unfortunately. But that's pretty interesting, and I think I had a similar impression when I came to Colombia. Like you said, a lot of these get-rich-quick Ponzi schemes and people getting contacts on Instagram. But what would you say? I mean, you already said there's in Argentina some talents and some projects starting. I think also a lot of remittance projects, like you were saying. But what are some projects, global crypto projects that are pretty big in Latin America, where everyone's crazy about?
Yeah, well, I would say Bitcoin, of course, Ethereum, of course, but I think there's not many projects like focusing on Spanish, like all of the dApps are in English. So yeah. I think that's a thing that many projects need to focus more. that's one thing also that I like a lot of Polkadot, because they have community all around the world. Like Ethereum, there's many like ambassadors and programmers, but Polkadot has more content in Spanish, more ambassadors, I think, and it's growing a lot here. That's one of the things I like, because there's a lot of mixing and there's communities everywhere. But I wouldn't say there's like the strongest project. I think it would be Ethereum, maybe, if we talk about people that are doing things about it, or Bitcoin, because the other projects are still early. But yeah, there's opportunity, I think, a lot for projects to expand their dApps and all the community, because there's a lot of people here. A lot of people can use it for basic needs, like it's really important for them. So we need more solutions, because not everybody speaks English, and that's a problem.
So what would you say? I mean, obviously the language barrier is one thing. What would you say are people in Latin America mostly interested in? Is it NFTs? Is it DeFi? Is it savings? You know, from a crypto application perspective. And then second part of the question, what would you say for any crypto project, even big ones like Polkadot or Cosmos or whatever we talk about on our channels, what would you say should they do better besides the translation into Spanish to target for the Latin American people?
Yeah. Well, I think DeFi is definitely big. Like I said, stable coins really useful for people. Of course, saving accounts are really popular. Farming and all that stuff, it's more complex. So there's definitely people that do it, but I think there needs to be like easier options for other people. One thing that I think is going to be really huge, and it's growing really fast here in Latin America, I felt, is blockchain gaming. Because the entry barrier, the knowledge barrier is really low. They just play, earn, and they can get integrated into crypto. They don't need to have a job. They don't need to have a bank account. Nothing. They can just ask for an Axie account, and they can start earning, and now they're inside the crypto ecosystem. So I think that's really, really big. A lot of blockchain gaming communities are growing right now, and yeah, there's a lot of people hyped about this trend, because it's a low entry, I think, for people that have no financial education.
Yeah.
So that's a problem here. So that's a way for them to get into the crypto ecosystem.
Yeah.
And well, the second part that you asked me about, what can projects do to integrate more? I think have more ambassadors here, have more information put out in Spanish, not only the translation of the dApp, but the wiki, you know, all the documents, the white paper, the landing page, everything, so people can learn, read, and understand it, and not just like try to understand it. But yeah, like people need to practice. I think that's the main thing. Once you learn a few basic things in crypto, you can get a hold of most of the projects. So the education is the main part, and yeah, that's something projects can do, and the locals can do as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And you already said it earlier. You're one very early Polkadot proponent, and I think also your community, which is almost 100,000 on YouTube, right? It's pretty big.
So, getting close.
Yeah, that's a big milestone, man. Really excited for that to see you cross 100K. And also your community on Telegram is amazing. I mean, they're so engaged and ask so many questions. So you're doing an amazing job there, and also amazing job in spreading the word and explaining Polkadot, explaining parachains, explaining the whole architecture. I think that's a huge information, kind of like valuable information that the people are getting from your work. So can you share a little bit about your kind of like excitement around Polkadot?
Yeah.
Here on my channel, I talk a lot about Cosmos, obviously, as you know. But what is your favorite part about Polkadot?
Well, the thing that got me into Polkadot is the whole. There's not an omnipotent blockchain that can do it all. So there needs to be focused on blockchains that can have a specific parts of the code focused on certain apps. So for me, Bitcoin is like something special. There's like, it's the only crypto that was born in a certain time at a certain characteristics of the crisis and how it was born. It's really different from any project. The other projects, I see them more as companies or as startups, and crypto is more like resilient, self-living thing. What got me into Polkadot was this thing that I was really excited about. Many use cases that people were saying that could be done with blockchain. So one thing of those was when I saw, for example, the first times I saw I could hold stable coins, gold, and tokens in my same Ethereum account. That was crazy for me because you could hold an entire portfolio in one account and all in your brain pretty much. So since I started getting in deeper, there was many functions. Not many of them were perfect for Ethereum. Fees started growing, so I really loved Ethereum. So when I heard, like I said, about Gavin Wood being involved in Polkadot, I was instantly sold because I was excited about many applications of blockchain, but there was people that weren't. So Polkadot was thinking about bringing all this together. One thing that I heard about from Gavin Wood that really sold me also was how he explained how every blockchain could be compared to the intranet, and then the internet protocol was born, and all those networks that were closed started connecting, and that's when the really big boom happened. So those things really sold me on it. I was really excited because of the people, the idea, and yeah, like I didn't get into the pre-sale when it was in 2017, but by luck I got into the pre-sale that was 2020, like the last public sale they did. So I was really excited. I knew like Ethereum was really big. I trusted it. So I was like, I didn't get into Ethereum. I'm going to get really into Polkadot because it makes sense. As a whole, it makes sense because like, every blockchain I see it like a tiny country or like a football club. So there's going to be people that want to use that. So it makes a lot of sense for all the blockchains working together, but people can use different blockchains at the same time. Like the iPhone can talk to a BlackBerry or an Android or a Google phone. It's not like they're limited to that. So that's what really sold me pretty much. And of course, Kusama, this combination of having a wild cousin chain that is for testing because they learned from the hack that happened in Ethereum. So I think it really sold me the concept there, the way they were planning, and also like the way the interface, the user interface, the brand. I saw it like I see a little bit like Ethereum is like Microsoft, the way it looks and feels, and Polkadot is more like Mac or Apple. I feel there's some comparisons there, how the brand is presented, how you interact with something. So I don't know. I really liked it, and since then I've been really deep into that and learning about all the projects. Really great teams working. One thing that also sold me a lot was I saw like the Ethereum community, the Cardano community fighting,
Yeah.
but the Ethereum community is not fighting the Polkadot community, you know, or talking shit or anything like that. So they're pretty much teams, you know, like they're not fighting, and that's something that also brought my attention to the project.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's an ideology that also resonates a lot with me and that we both have in common. Just for me, I'm more into the Cosmos ecosystem. You're more into Polkadot, but even Polkadot and Cosmos are not fighting each other, right? They're like, we're both trying to become the internet of blockchains, but we can also connect to each other, right? So in the end of the year, Cosmos will have substrate compatibility, and then probably vice versa. Cosmos Hub could become a Parachain or Polkadot one day, right? So there's so many concepts and ideas that you can think through when we have full interoperability, full compatibility between all those chains. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also for everybody who is listening now, I'm like, man, why are you talking about Gavin Wood all the time? Gavin Wood is the co-founder of Ethereum, right? So he wrote the Ethereum Yellow Paper, which is the technical paper of Ethereum. He developed the Ethereum virtual machine. Like, this guy is an absolute OG and a star and a celebrity. And I think that's why also, you know, the whole Ethereum community respects that a lot. And he's done a lot for Ethereum. But you already touched upon Kusama, and there were the first auctions going live a couple of weeks ago. I think the second batch is happening now. I'm not sure, but it's already happening. And you're also, I think, an ambassador for Moonbeam or Moonriver. So can you talk a little bit about the auctions, what gets you excited about it, and how people can also get involved in that?
Yeah, of course. So Kusama is pretty much the same blockchain as Polkadot, but it's considered the wild cousin because it has a lower barrier of entry. For example, when you stake Polkadot, you have to wait 28 days to unbond it, but with Kusama, it's 7 days. So that's like the idea. So Cosmos is the Kusama is the field where everything's tested. So many parachains that are gonna connect to Polkadot are making a parachain for Kusama, where they're gonna test everything, the new things, extreme things. The saying in Kusama is expect chaos, because there's no promises. You have to know that it's like the wild cousin. It's the newest things are gonna be there, but having the new things, it's riskier because they're not tested, right? So Kusama is the testing field, and then Polkadot is like the more refined version, institutional, filtered. So with both tokens, Polkadot, Kusama, you can use them to participate in what's called a crowd loan. The crowd loan is a module where projects that want to be parachains ask people to block KSM in their favor to support them in an auction, because so there's this parachain slots that connect blockchains, completely independent blockchains, to the Kusama ecosystem. But there's a limited spaces. There's 100, and these spaces are you have to win them in an auction. So the projects need to raise as much KSM as possible to secure and win this auction. So the way they raise these funds is giving people tokens from their project. So if you're really hyped about a project, you can support them by bonding KSM in their favor, and they will reward you with tokens of the project. It's really interesting because first you get free airdrops, because you don't lose the KSM, you don't give it to them. It's blocked. It's actually blocked on the Kusama blockchain. So the team never touches that. And in talking about the tokenomics, a lot of KSM is out of circulation. like a lot of it is staking, and a lot of it is bonded to the parachains. So the circulation starts getting lower every time, and that's pretty interesting if you talk about the price. So that's pretty much what you can do with your KSM. It's really interesting because, like I said, there's projects that have two chains. One is for Polkadot, one is for Kusama. And as you said, I'm an ambassador for Moonbeam, which is a blockchain that is EVM compatible. It's pretty much Ethereum on the Polkadot ecosystem. So they made a blockchain that is for Polkadot. It's called Moonbeam. It's not out yet. And as well, there's a blockchain that is called Moonriver, and that's the version of Moonbeam for Kusama. So it's the same thing. It's like the experimental, it's the fast pacing, extreme version of Moonbeam. So it's gonna be really interesting. So a lot of people say that Kusama is the real Polkadot because the apps are gonna be running there first. The ecosystem is already running there. Like there's already 6 parachains running. Right now, the last one they just won, Killed, also won a parachain. So there's 7 actually. The 8th auction is right now happening. There's for example, there's a project called Akala that is like a blockchain focused on DeFi. That's the one for Polkadot, but it has one that's called Karura for Kusama. And you can do things like, it's similar to MakerDAO because you can mint KUSD with your Kusama, for example, as you can mint DAI in MakerDAO. There's also a DEX there where you can swap different tokens as well. The blockchain, inter-blockchain transfer is really easy. So you can transfer Kusama to Karura really quick, fees really quick, so cheap. You can also farm, of course, and there's also integrated in there liquid staking. And all of this is on the blockchain. It's not like a smart contract on top of a blockchain, so it's really cool. And also projects can build on top of this blockchain that is more focused on DeFi. And there's Moonriver that is for Kusama, that is any app pretty much that is running on Ethereum can run on Moonriver. So Sushi is deploying there. Cream Finance is deploying there. Ocean Protocol. A lot of really good quality projects. Dodo is deploying there. So they have many projects that are already scheduled to deploy on Moonriver and Moonbeam. So that's really, really cool. And actually a really interesting thing is that Andre Cronje retweeted something about Moonriver. So maybe since Sushi is connected there, Cream, maybe we can see Yearn Finance at some point there. And really a lot of people are hyped because you can compare Moonriver with Phantom's really hyped right now, or like Avalanche, or it's like Polkadot, Kusama don't compete with Ethereum or any smart contract blockchain because they don't have smart contracts integrated on the blockchain. But Moonriver is a layer 1 solution with smart contracts, so a lot of people are hyped about that. Of course, there's going to be the Moonbeam version that's going to be like the more refined. So we don't know what's going to happen. Some projects have one project for both chains. Some projects have 2 projects for each chain. So it's going to be interesting how it works out. Community, I think, is a really strong point for blockchain. So the way it looks, the way it feels, maybe people stay in Kusama, but a lot of people, also more people hold Polkadot. So that's going to be really huge when the parachains go there. And maybe in October it's happening. Parity said pretty much that when the first parachain on Kusama was running and there was they checked some of the contracts, they would announce the parachains for Polkadot, but there's no dates. That's a good thing, I think, because they don't rush to satisfy the people, but they work on the technology as it should, I think.
Yeah, awesome. And there's so many amazing things, and you can already hear your balls deep in Polkadot and Kusama. And that's awesome. I think, you know, as content creators and also kind of like community managers for our own communities, it's really hard to stay up to date with different ecosystems. And I'm touching upon Polkadot sometimes here on my channel as well. But I think it makes more sense to follow somebody like you, because you are 10 times more of an expert and you're also actively using all those products. And there's also one very interesting thing that you said regarding Kusama potentially being the real Polkadot. So can you share some of your thoughts about this? Because this is also discussion now in the Cosmos community, right? The Cosmos Hub is kind of like the Polkadot chain, relay chain. And then the thoughts are right now, hey, we should maybe have a canary network like Kusama for Cosmos. There's actually a proposal right now for something called Warp Zone. So I think the contra against this would be, what if this network would take over the Cosmos Hub, right? So what are your thoughts on this in Polkadot? And do you think this is actually a threat for Polkadot?
Well, one thing that's really doesn't give me a threat kind of vibe is that they have limited slots, parachain slots. So each has 100 slots. So if they want a really big ecosystem, they need to join, and they can be 200 slots instead. So that's really cool. Another thing is that some apps are just going to be running on Kusama. Some are just going to be running on Polkadot. So there's space for an infinite amount of applications. We're still in the experimentation stage of blockchain crypto. So let them be as many apps and experiments as they can, so we can bring the real applications, useful applications into life. So I think it's not a really big threat. The threat side is that people want to use it right now. They want to get involved, interact with the apps. So that's where Kusama gains traction a lot. But another thing is that institutions want safe things, and Polkadot is that thing because it's refined, it's tested. So I think that's going to be really big. I think Polkadot is one of the projects that most funds hold, and many of the funds. So when you purchased Polkadot, they also gave you a one-on-one on Kusama. And there's a rumors, and many people say this, that many of the VCs that got involved with Polkadot sold KSM earlier. Last year it was like $5. Right now it's like $300, $400. So they got rid of it because they didn't know what it was, how to use it. They were betting more on Polkadot side. So there's also people that say that Kusama is more of the people's chain, because like the VCs got out a little bit. That's also an interesting of the project Moonriver that we were talking about. Moonbeam Foundation like raised funds from Coinbase Ventures, from Binance Labs, really cool. But the Moonriver chain, they didn't give any tokens to them. Like I think 30% or more was for the people that got involved in the crowd loan for the Parachain auction. So a lot of the supplies on the supporters of the project, and other parts are also treasury and development. So there's no VCs inside the token holders. So that's a really interesting concept, because there's going to be really different outcomes probably, because in Kusama and Moonriver, there's more people, like regular people, involved in the decisions, and in Polkadot and Moonbeam, there's more institutions and more big fish involved in this. So it's a really interesting combination, and I think both are going to be pretty huge. But Kusama is like a clan, it's like a club. There's like a vibes that is like a secret society.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
Yeah, I saw that also. People are making tattoos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Um, but so, what would you say now to somebody who comes like, man, you know, I hold some DOT, I hold some KSM, but I have no idea what I should do with that. And obviously, this is, of course, no advice, financial advice or anything like that. But what is the best thing you can currently do with your KSM? And if you have, you can also drop some alpha leaks here for the next Moonriver, if
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
already
yeah.
one.
So what you can do right now with your KSM is, well, you can do many things right now actually. Like first of all, you can stake it. There's a really good APY, it's like 15%, so it's really good. You can also support a parachain in the auctions. So that's what you miss if you support the auctions is that you stop doing stake. You have to support the auction, so you miss out on that. But a project can give you tokens that are really, really good right now. So, for example, with Moonriver, for each KSM you staked, you received 14 movers. And right now, mover, the last time I checked, was in $300. So they gave you around $2,300 for each KSM you apported. So it's really huge. There's a really low circulation. There's 2 million Genesis supply, 10 million Genesis supply, and right now there's like 1.5 or 2 million circulating. So it's a supply that's pretty low. You can also actually right now you can do liquid staking, for example, on Kusama, on Karura. You can switch that KSM, that LKSM, liquid KSM, you can exchange it for regular KSM, and then you can put it into the crowd loan, so you get like double trouble there. You can do really crazy things. Like you could also, I'm not sure if it's already out the minting part of the Karura ecosystem, but you could grab your KSM, put it onto liquid staking, then mint KUSD with your liquid Kusama, and then you can, with that KUSD, you can buy more KSM and then put into crowd loans. So you can do many combinations right now, and it's only gonna get crazier, I think. And there's a lot of good projects right now. Like the most hype project, Kilt, is an identity blockchain, was the one that won the first auction from the second round that happened yesterday, pretty much. And right now there's some projects that are interesting. There's Calamari Network. There's a privacy-focused solution. There's Astair. I like this project a lot because it's the wild cousin of Centrifuge. If people don't know Centrifuge, it's like a DeFi project that brings real-world assets to the DeFi ecosystem. So you can pretty much tokenize an invoice, and then you can, if the invoice is for $100,000, you can sell it. You can ask for $95,000 in Centrifuge, and then the 5%, 10% is for the lenders, right? So I think that's gonna be a combination that's interesting. Of course, there's a complex connection between real world assets and the digital space, and there's some intermediaries that have to be there, at least for now. Maybe in the future it's more automatic, but right now there's a complex bridge there between real world assets and digital assets. But I think that's going to be huge because it can bring the liquidity of real estate, invoices. You can also tokenize like music royalties, things like that. So it's going to be a really cool combination. There's also there's so many projects actually, like they've been building for a while now, and there's so many projects like just waiting to to get into a parachain. There's a really good project that I like. It's called Subsocial, and it's like the only project that is like a social network running on Substrate Polkadot ecosystem, and you can actually, there's a framework so you can build your own social network based on Subsocial. That's really cool. That's a really, not many people know that project, and I think it's really, really cool. There's a Genshiro, there's another DeFi blockchain that's really cool. Robonomics Network, that's a really cool project as well, that it's based on IoT and all that stuff. So it's going to be cool to see blockchains that are specialized in different areas of the crypto universe. There's a project called Remarker that are NFTs, and those are NFTs that can hold other NFTs. It's really cool project. Yeah, people, you should check it out if you're into NFTs. It's one of the most advanced NFTs projects that are out there right now. And yeah, not many play to earn games right now, but they can be running on Moonriver, or they can be running on any chain pretty much. And if other blockchains want to connect to the Polkadot ecosystem, they can do it through other parachains. You don't need to have a parachain to go into the Polkadot ecosystem. You can, all the bridges that are functioning right now for Ethereum, they can work for Moonriver, for example. So the bridge that uses for Binance Smart Chain, it can go into the Moonriver ecosystem. And yeah, it's really, really interesting how the ecosystem is growing, because they had the pieces for a while now, but now they can start to put it all into place.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm really looking forward also for the first Polkadot auctions. Hopefully in October, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I think Polkadot definitely a huge, giant ecosystem that is just getting started. And I think if you build bridges to other big ecosystems, like you're mentioning Avalanche, BSC, that's like, people have the opportunity and possibility. Which one do they want to use? And I think it's all up to the user. And that's why interoperability is so huge and such a big thing. But let's wrap this video up, also not to make it too long, with some of your thoughts right now. Obviously, everyone's thinking like, oh, are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? So people don't really know where do we stand. And you've been in the market for a couple of years now. So what is your current sentiment? Where do we stand, and where are we headed for the rest of this year?
Yeah. Well, I'm a moon boy, so I actually think that we can go really quick to 1,050, 150, 2,000, $200,000 per Bitcoin. Right now, I think we're in a consolidation stage. I'm not into technical analysis that much. I look at it, but I try to focus more on the fundamentals, the blockchain analysis part of things, and I think that looks pretty healthy. Last time I saw, there was less Bitcoin on exchanges right now than when we were at 60,000. So I think that's a really good sign. Yeah, people are still excited. There's no sign of the market slowing down. I've seen more and more people talking about crypto in real life today than a couple months ago. So people are staying, they're not leaving, and they're still looking for opportunities. I'm looking for the support of the 200-day moving average. So just to know if there's going to be a really big crash. I don't do like trading. I do sometimes maybe a couple trades, but I'm not a day trader or anything. I try to focus on fundamentals, and adoption is accelerating. There's more people with NFTs right now. I think NFTs, like I said before, it's like a mainstream part of the culture. So I think that can be a really big area where people can start learning about crypto without being so complex or finance focused. So yeah, I think I'm still bullish. I think we're gonna go up. I think there's many cases to say this time is different. At least if a bear market comes, because in 2017 you could hold your crypto and that's pretty much it, trade it. But now you can do more complex things. You can swap it indexes, you can get into staking, you can be farming, and with blockchain games you can be playing. I think that's gonna be huge. If there was a bear market, people are gonna be still playing video games, and they're gonna still be involved in crypto. And it's not just about buy sell the top, it's more that you can use your crypto for so many things right now. So I think that's a really good floor price. And of course, having Elon Musk and all these big institutions into crypto right now, I think it's huge. It's huge. And I still remember when I started seeing it in like mainstream media, and when I saw it, I was like, this is not leaving anytime soon. And now that I see like so many big institutions holding it, PayPal getting involved, like I think it's impossible to take a step back from what we already done.
Yeah, that's very true, and I'm also still bullish for this year. But yeah, you never know. There can things can happen. There's some threats in crypto, also regulatory uncertainty. So we'll have to wait and see. But fundamentally, 100% agree. It's crazy. I mean, especially if you look at like Ethereum, all the developments that are happening, wallets that are being created, transaction fees that are routing, wallets that are being like so many things. It's incredible. But yeah, I will definitely link all your channels here. You're predominantly making content in Spanish, but there's also sometimes English content you do. Maybe also with Cryptocito about Cosmos. We'll see. So yeah, really appreciate your time. I hope we can do this again. And yeah, before we wrap it up, maybe you can share some final thoughts and also some final words on where people can best connect with you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube as Math Crypto MX with an I, not a Y, because it's in Spanish. And yeah, I'm really excited for what's coming in the future. I think people get excited in the short term, but in the long term, it's really big what's gonna happen. And like I say to many people, like patience is one of the things that pay the most, consistent and patience. And like I said, technology, crypto is software, so it's upgradable. So if you think the experience is bad right now, it's not the best for massive adoption. The internet was exactly the same in the early days, and the user interface is going to get better each month pretty much. So that's where the opportunity is. When people don't even know when they're using blockchain, I think that's gonna be like the end game. So we're still early, we're still exploring, and like you said as well, focusing on some projects is better because crypto is changing every day. It's kind of overwhelming, and make a community. And you mentioned my Telegram. I love it because I don't have time. It's humanly impossible to keep up with everything. So where people share their ideas or projects they're looking at, it's really useful. So you can learn quicker and you don't have to be searching for everything all the time. So focusing on some stuff, it's really useful, I think. And maybe not over diversify, but go deep into one ecosystem. That could pay off.
Yeah,
But thank you for the invite, Michael, and yeah, looking forward maybe seeing you in Portugal and maybe in Mexico in the future.
Yeah, man, it would be awesome to have you here in Portugal. There's a lot of events coming up, and obviously you're also invited to join us for the Cosmos conference, Cosmoverse 2021 here. People can find it on cosmoverse.org. I'm also going to leave that under this video. But yeah, man, really appreciate your time, man, and hope to see you. Hope to do this more in the future. Also for the Spanish and Latin American community, I think it's really cool to also get them and connected to the rest of the world. I think sometimes they're a little bit forgotten there. But yeah, man, thanks again, and yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.